yourself long enough to really feel for you in that, put yourself in other people's shoes just for a second. I know you stressed. I know you angry. I know you're bitter. I know maybe you're feeling yourself. You probably got on your favorite outfit today. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You don't want nobody staring at you too long. I know we all have those little indulgences. But if you can kind of take a walk up and down the street, or maybe look at one of your coworkers and ask yourself, are they okay? What's wrong with them? Is there anything wrong with them? How's life treating them? Why do they act this way? Maybe I need to not be so quick to absorb this negative energy that is coming off of people, and maybe kind of shift it and reshape it into something that's going to be more palatable. Because if I know your history, or I just know that there's always a root to it, if I can get out of my pride, then it allows me to explore deeper into the subconscious of other people, and it detaches my emotions and my physical self from reacting and responding to others in a way that is not going to help you or help me at the same time. Pride does not help anyone, and it comes in different forms, and it happens. You don't even know it's happening until after it's already done its damage. People judge me and look at me and assume things about me all the time. But that's because no one is having the conversations with me. No one's walking up to me and saying, "Hey, how's your family? How's this? What's?" No one's doing that. They're just looking at they look at you from head to toe. They look at what you got on. They look at whether or not you have eye contact. They examine your demeanor, the way that you converse with people. They want to know if you're social. They look at the surface level of it. They have that wall up. They can't go past this. And so what you've ultimately done is you've created an image in your head that is completely false. And I think we do that a lot. I think that's probably one of the biggest examples of pride that I've
Yeah,
noticed.
I think this is one of the biggest reasons why relationships fail so much too. You had said before that it's important for you to understand your partner. I'm going to tell you that you will never understand your partner. You won't truly understand your partner, but you can be willing to listen to and have a desire to understand better where they're coming from and work with them, be cooperative with them, and seek to create some kind of dynamic where both of you are what's known as pendulating, where you are moving back and forth and you are moving between the idea that there are some things that are going to be more in your wheelhouse, or something that you're going to be more passionate about, and some things that your partner is going to be more passionate about, and both things are good. The trick is the willingness to work within that dance, within that pendulation, within that back and forth, and be flexible enough to want to not only work with it, but also learn to enjoy it. Because in that pendulation, there is the sense that I understand you, I respect you, and more importantly, I value you. And your partner desires to do the same. But it takes one person, just one person, in that relationship having the desire to move, to make the first move, to say, I want to understand you better, rather than saying, I need you to understand me. And the moment that you take that different stance, the moment you get rid of that pride where I need to be understood, because you don't deserve to be understood by anyone, but you have an opportunity to share understanding or a desire to give understanding to others or be willing to open yourself up to another person so you can understand them. And that creates a reciprocal desire for them to want to understand you.
A huge component to the distillability. That's not even the word. Forgive me, folks. Forgive me. I knew where I was going with it, and then I just completely went left. But pride will have you all unwired, man. It will unravel every single thing that you could ever imagine possible. I've been in that place. I'll give you a quick example. I try to not apply everything to me, but you know, I like to be transparent with the people. We family here. Well, at least I treat the people here like family, man. No one is a stranger to me, right? So I was in a situation where I could have kept a place of employment. I worked there for 6 years, and because I was too prideful, I felt as if everything was stacked against me. Nobody was on my side. Fear took over. I thought my only option was to leave. So what I did was I wrote an email. I gave a full breakdown of why I left, and I hadn't been there since. It's been over 2 years since I've been in that place of employment. Do you understand that one decision that was based on how I felt changed the course of my entire life? This is 2 years ago, probably longer. And between then and now, I have lost so much along the way, literally, all from one decision. One decision changed everything. And by the grace of God, I'm here right now. But there were choices that set me back horribly. And I say that because you don't really know what your pride or what you're really doing until it affects you in a way that you didn't realize it was affecting you. Harsh reality is a very cruel reality at that. There is no give in it. There is no forgiveness in it. Once it takes root, it's not going anywhere. I don't care how many times you try to cut it. If you don't get into the root, you don't get into that ground and you don't pull that up and get it up out of you, it's just going to keep resurfacing. And so I find myself having to rebuild and regroup and reconstruct the way that I think and the way that I operate. Because them little things that you don't think matter, they matter. And they will hit back very hard. I wouldn't take it lightly. And what he said was right. You should definitely take a replay of this and go back and listen to different parts of the conversation, because moving forward, you don't want to make the same mistakes over and over again. Not this year. I don't know what it is about 2024, but I don't think a lot of people want to make the same mistakes over again.
It's funny as you were talking, and you were mentioning how that one decision really changed things for you. The only thing is the one thing that kept on going through my mind as you were talking was, man, what a wonderful opportunity. And what I mean by that, the situation is unfortunate. However, it isn't so much about what you've experienced, but what you do with it. And when you decide that you're going to take a situation and learn from it, say, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this and how can I get better? You win. You understand that what you've been through has the possibility of being something great, but only if you decide to see it that way. And this is one of the great things about pride. Is pride has the opportunity of creating humility because of the adversity that it takes us through. And that adversity reminds us that we are not all powerful. We are not the kind of person that can do whatever we want without consequences. That kind of person does not exist. The book of Proverbs says pride falls before the man, and talks about how as a man, or as people become enraptured in themselves and in love with the idea of themselves and believing that they are entitled to whatever it is they want, they are setting themselves up for great and spectacular disappointment. And in that disappointment is the opportunity for humility. And humility is the antidote for pride. Because when you are humble, you realize that there's a lot more to life than just you. And you are much smaller than you thought you were. You're not as big as you thought you were. You weren't as tough. You weren't as strong. You begin to see yourself for who you really are. And when you operate from a place of humility, this is where the healthy ego learns to surface. This is where the ego learns to understand where its limitations are. And this is where the ego begins to understand how it can be useful without being destructive.